Now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
And it is Friday night. What is up, you guys? Hopefully you guys got to check out that new video I uploaded today where Sherry brought through some really, really cool information. Oh, there's Biker Babe. And, you know, even the puzzle pieces kind of came through. I was like, oh, wow, that's another little synchronicity confirmation about the puzzle pieces and what Biker Babe got on our last broadcast. So I thought that was really interesting. Phone lines are open. I'm trying to get... I got a lot of little bitty technical difficulties going on here, but we're working through it. We'll make it work. I'm going to put some music on while I figure some things out here and wait for a caller. right, we're gonna go to our first caller on the line. Corey, what is up? How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good, man. How's everybody tonight?
Oh, going pretty good, man. Energy's good. I'm feeling pretty good. So where are you calling from, Corey?
Yeah, me too. From Kansas, man. Believe it or not.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get your volume
Out
up here a little
dealing
bit.
with this weather and stuff.
Are you guys getting a lot of rain up that way too?
Yeah, a little bit, man. It's just temperature fluctuations a lot around here. You know, one day it's 65, next day it's like below freezing. Makes no sense.
I'm going to try to add some gain to your volume here. So maybe, okay. Yeah, it is. It's fluctuating quite a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I just been interested in talking with you, man, about whole Mandela effect and just things in general. If you'd be interested, or
yeah, definitely.
I didn't think he was gonna answer, man. This is wild.
Hey, it's fate, man. That's all you can say. So, how did you discover the Mandela effect, Corey?
Like I stumbled upon some videos initially on YouTube, and but personally, I've had personal effects.
Oh, let's hear about some of those.
I've tried to. Okay, yeah. Like for example, I have a good friend, you know, that I've known since I could even remember.
Mm-hmm.
Went to school together, and we have a hobby that we enjoy. It's I won't say the name of it, but it's like a collectible kind of card game. And there's certain, it's like collecting baseball cards or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we would kind of review each other's collections, and you know, over the years he would build up cards, I'd build up cards, and just about a few years ago I would ask him about, hey man, do you still have this certain edition of card or something? Because these cards some of them sell for hundreds of dollars, you know.
Yeah, because I used to collect the Hot Wheels, so yeah, I know they can get pretty expensive. Sorry, there is a little bit of a delay, so if I talk over you, I apologize.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll okay. Yeah, but I would ask him about something that I was certain that he had, because you know, I remembered very distinctly because of the money, the price of it. I'm like, man, you have those, you know, that's cool, man. That's like, you know, $400 for 2 cards and stuff. And he's like, oh, I've never had those. And just without hesitation. And that's just a small example, man. I do apologize if I seem a bit rantish. I didn't think he's going to answer, sir.
No, that's perfectly fine. But that's these little discrepancies we see with, you know, what we remember and what actually happened. And then when it involves somebody like a good friend or something, you're like, man, is this even the same guy? But it is. It's just an alternate history, and it's hard to wrap your head around it, but it's happening.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely confusing, because trying to connect with somebody that would kind of understand where I'm coming from with all this. It seems very, very difficult. Even, you know, like with him, I would try to explain some things with him, and I just laugh it off. Oh man, you know, you're just overthinking that or something. But when it came to the whole card situation, and I mean, it wasn't just one instance. It was many instances of, oh, you remember this song, or you like that band or this band, and like it never happened. I was just like, whoa, man, it's kind of trippy.
Yeah, have you let him look at your collection to see if he noticed any differences in it? Because a lot of times when you're really close to an item, you don't see the change. So he's liable to notice a card that you used to have, that he knows you used to have, and you know, according to you, you'll be like, I never had that card, you know, just like he's doing to you.
That's funny you said that, because he has asked me, you know, he's like, do you still have this card? And I was like, oh, I don't think I ever had that card. And honestly, I kind of don't remember having it. And then I kind of searched my brain. I'm like, well, maybe I had it and I, traded it for this or sold it or.
Yeah. We got our memories a lot.
Speaking of that, I would, go through the collection and I would find new cards. Like, whoa, I didn't know I had this one. Or, so, I mean, it's like you said, it happens every day, I think. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, one of the cool things that's happened to me is I've had people tell me that they remembered me having like this sort of, I don't know, an orangish yellowish and sign in the middle of my logo, in between unbiased and on the fence line there was like a athletic gold and sign. And here's the funny thing: when I was creating the logo and I was redoing it, I actually added a golden colored, just like people explained, sort of like a school bus colored, mustard colored and sign in there, and I didn't like how it looked. And I just turned that layer back off, and I never published it that way. I never even created a JPEG. So I know it wasn't like I accidentally published it at some point, but people remember seeing my logo with that in it. And I'm like, no, I never published. I never showed anyone it. I just looked at it. It looked a little bit too gaudy. So I was like, there's too much going on already. I'm not going to do that. So that's one strange thing about it. It's almost like they're remembering a history or an alternate reality where I decided to go ahead and go with it. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, I'm sure you've heard the theory of every decision that we make, it creates a new one. So perhaps it happened right then in that moment, and you just you switched back, obviously, because you didn't like how it looked or whatever, but it happened for them somehow.
Right.
See, that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, and there was a handful of people. It wasn't just one person, And the fact that I remembered trying it and was like, no, I never went with it, But I remember trying it, and it was the same color I tried and everything,
Yeah. The thing I'd love to figure out, or I don't know, man. Like I've been getting into this because my life's not it's going okay, but oh man, I just still have a lot of regrets that I didn't do certain things, and I'm into meditation, and I keep hearing this overall theme of if you stay in a thought, you'll find yourself there. And oh man, it's been years, man, and just seems kind of hopeless sometimes. I'm not trying to be negative, but
yeah.
Oh man, not talking with you though. This is kind of cool, man. I'm sitting here shaking, smoking a cigarette.
Well, imagine that you've got regrets, but there was actually paths where you did make that choice or that decision. So maybe you could jump on. I know Cynthia Sue Larson's all about quantum jumping and jumping on to your optimal path. But I think that really, it's getting over the regrets and realizing that you're right where you're supposed to be. There really are no accidents, and you've been guided to this place, to this time, this specific set of circumstances in your life for a reason. And there are no regrets. I mean, you can let go of that, and even the bad things that happen to us make us stronger and everything. And I think especially after this, I don't know if you saw the video I put out earlier today, but it made me realize how we really have more control over our reality than we think. And the Mandela effect is an indicator that we are shifting into a different reality as a whole. And so it's really powerful. If you didn't get a chance to listen to that, I would definitely check that out. And, it definitely makes you think.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here, man, and let somebody else, who's a bit more calm, talk with you. It's been an honor, my friend.
Oh, thanks for calling in, Corey. How long you been listening to the channel?
Man, I mean, I'm not sure when you started, but for me, I would think at least years, a year or two, a year and a half at least at the minimum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started.
I've been there, man.
2017, the beginning of 2017, so hasn't been too long. A few years now.
Yeah. I usually usually try to watch when you and Michelle talk, and oh man, what's it's not Biker Babe, but the other lady, the real nice lady too.
Eileen?
She's cool. When
On
you guys
Saturday
talk,
night?
you do your power. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eileen, that's it, Eileen. Yeah, Eileen Pulse, yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice lady. But yeah, you guys are awesome, and keep it up, and got a fan in Kansas City, and good things are coming.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you calling, man. Nice meeting you.
All right, brother, you guys have... All right, bro, I'll be in the chat, man.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
You too. Let's see. Okay, let's spark this up on the next caller.
Let's go.
You're listening to the Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
All right, got a few people in the call queue. No one with their hand up. If you could hit *2 if you'd like to join in on the call. I don't want to hop you in here if you are just saving on your data, because just so you guys know, you can save on your data and join in on the call through your phone. You can just dial the number and not raise your hand and listen in, and that saves your data, because most people have unlimited calls, but some people are limited on their data. So you do miss some of the bells and whistles and, of course, the chat. But, you know, if you're just driving in your car or something, that doesn't matter anyway, does it? Going to go back to the phone lines. 405 here in my home state. Who am I talking to?
Hi, it's Susan. How are you?
How's it going, Susan? Let me turn back off this filter here, because I don't want to blow everybody out of the water here. His volume was a little low, so I added a booster on it. Okay, there we go. All right.
Okay, well, hi, everybody. Hi, Shane. It's good to hear you.
Yeah,
it's
it's
good to talk
good
to
to hear you,
everyone.
too. By Design Susan. If you guys don't recognize her from the chat, you were in the chat, weren't you?
Haven't been chatting.
Oh, you haven't been chatting? Okay. Yeah, I thought you were earlier, but I haven't been watching.
Not as much as I used to. I've been going back and forth from here in Jones to Okmulgee and to my cousin Lonnie's, and working on cleaning out the house there. And so that's been taking a lot of time. It's been a long, slow thing between car problems and needing income. So I've been back and forth with different jobs. I worked for UPS again this year and drove on the truck as a helper.
Very nice.
And that turned into, yeah, it was good for the time I did it.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm going to talk about UPS drama, though. There was some drama around getting a paycheck, but I don't think I need to. We don't need the energy of that on this call. Anyway, I got.
Yeah, 3D life, I guess, huh?
Yes. And I want to say hi to everyone that from ECETI and our trip. I want to say hi to Feisty Kitty. I think about her and Michelle and Joe and everybody. I just wish so bad that it was so much easier to communicate, that we weren't all in the middle of all these shifts and transitions, because I feel like many of us are just being tossed in like waves. And but you know, having the tribe here and the support is making them, you know, smoother for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I set up the forum too, so that, you know, just throughout the week people can hop on there and have, you know, private conversations going on, or they can, you know, swap phone numbers in a private setting, because I know most people don't want to put their phone number in the chat, but you can sign up on the forum and connect with people in a more private, yet it's still free, you know, but you can get in there, and not anybody can just hop in there. They have to be registered. So you just register on the site and hit the little login button underneath the logo, and that will allow you to just set up a free account. And you'll want to click the little email that you get to verify that the email is proper. And sometimes it goes to the spam filter, so if you don't get it right away, you just go and check your bulk email or your spam filter, because it might go into there because it's automated. But yeah, that's a great place to for people to set up get-togethers. We need to get another one here in Tulsa, don't we? It's been about a year since our last one. Almost exactly a year, here in about a week.
I know. I'm so glad that St. Louis happened and that they were there when the whatever that was did whatever it did.
Yeah, the meteor. That was really cool.
Really cool. And so I wanted to say, about what you were talking about. I'm so glad you explained that. I need to utilize that because I'm bad about Facebook. I look at the messages, but I get lost in the whole Facebook thing.
Oh, me too. Me too. Yeah, I'm right with you on that, Susan. And matter of fact, most of the stuff I post on there is automatic. It just gets sent over. Like I'll just click under a video and share it or something along those lines. So I miss a lot on Facebook. But another thing is it's so busy over there that stuff gets ran off of the screen or off the feed. So if you're not over there every day looking at it, you can totally miss something. So I find on the forum it's just easier to get in there and share your ideas and know they're not going to get sort of, preempted by new messages, knocked off there.
Yeah. I'm going to use that, Shane. Thank you. Guys, I'm going to use that. We can all, I know you guys are already using it. I'm a step behind. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that.
No, actually, I set it up and not many people use it at all. I was kind of surprised because I thought it would be a bigger hit than what it is. But after ESETI, people weren't really getting on there too much. But I don't talk about it enough, so that's why I added it to the.
Well, I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention. So that's why I was saying I'm really glad you explained it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it'll be good though.
Terry's phone is ringing. It distracted me. Squirrel. No.
How's Terry doing?
Yeah, this is Terry.
Good. Yeah. Hi, Shane.
Hey, buddy. We
Hey,
need to get the gang together.
We-
You got Shira over there with you guys tonight too?
No, she moved out. 2 weeks ago?
No,
Yeah.
it was a lot longer than that.
Oh.
Well, she said she said she was over. She happened to be over there last week or something, and she was because I skipped last week. We had some storms. Actually, our power went off a few times last night. It wasn't even raining very hard. I'm like, oh gosh, I hope it stays on tonight. But it's raining and it's fine tonight. But if I do disappear, that might be what happened.
Right. The same here. It's just been wet all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, it started last night here for us.
Okay. Good talking to you. I'm going to throw you back to Susan.
All right, buddy.
Okay. And I'm like at that place where I've got so many things have been going on that I don't even know what to talk about or where to start. I've been talking with a woman that is interested in my home. I'm still open to the idea that, God can come through last minute. And if it forecloses, that's my new start. It's just whatever works out. But I also was hoping Sherry would call. That's what I was going to say. She's unavailable tonight, huh? To follow up on your all's earlier.
Yeah, I think she's unavailable. I sent her some messages and she didn't hit me back because I was hoping to, get her impressions of the, because she doesn't remember any of it. So for her, it would have been it would have been all new stuff for her too. She just, she goes into this trance and she's like sort of out of it. And, of course, we had sort of an after, or like a debriefing, if you will, and discussed some of the stuff. But yeah, it's pretty impressive that she's able to do that. I think a lot of people probably have this ability to do what she did, sort of step aside and contact a higher source like that, and bring in. So you got to check out the video and hear all the different information coming through?
Yes, absolutely. And it was so fun. While Terry and I were listening, and I was getting all excited because of some, talking with this woman. I've been talking with her about the group here and, some synchronicities there. And then while I was getting excited about what I was listening to that you were sharing with us about the superconsciousness, Lonnie called and he said, I haven't watched the video for a while. And this one just popped up and I clicked on it and he was really like, this is just what I wanted to hear, and we were
Who was that?
Listening. So going, Lonnie, my cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was fun. So he was loving that because he's read a book about the development of our consciousness and how we're elevating to the super consciousness. And
oh, wait a minute. Is he the one that came to the first?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because he actually had recommended a book called Cosmic Consciousness or something like that. And I went in to look it up, and I couldn't. There was several of them, and I'm like, man, I couldn't remember his name to ask you how to get a hold of him to find out which one it was he was wanting me to read. But I actually did look it up to go find that book. So yeah, I bet he was definitely interested in that one today.
Yeah, and that's so cool because he's probably listening, and he'll tell me the name of the book, and I'll send it to you.
Well, it was Cosmic Consciousness. I just wasn't sure about the author. When I went to look it up, there were several. So if you can let you know what the author is and you can text me or something, that'd be awesome because I was looking into getting that. But, you know, the whole thing about the simulation kind of blew my mind, too, because according to when I was looking into the Wingmakers material, it makes you feel like everything we know is part of the simulation. But then as it came through the session, it almost made it sound like it was just our higher self and us is the simulation portion of it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the whole thing. It was just this little part of it that is it. Like us being on Earth, us, you know, our higher self running things in a way with having more awareness and helping us through it. And so that was really interesting that came through.
It is. I was really resonating with it. I didn't finish it because, again, I was waiting on the stream to start, and Lonnie and I were also talking. So, and I was hoping you and Sherry were going to discuss it, but that's okay. We're discussing it.
Yeah.
And anyway, when you started the video, and you know, I thought, well, it's going to be through a BQH session, surely. And then you started saying that, and I went, it's going to be Sherry. Sure enough, it's Sherry. Of course it was Sherry.
Yeah.
And yes, I know we all are heading that direction where we can tap in the way she somehow just is and does. And but it is such a blessing that, you know, that she's a vessel for us for many things, you know, and I love it. There's so many ways that we're a conduit, all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's come through with her sessions about, you know, because she works in a facility where a lot of people have passed away, and she's come across people in their afterlife that, you know, thank her for all that she did to make their passing much easier and everything. She's like truly like a real life angel on earth with, you know, a lot of these people in their last days of life, and, you know, just being there for them, and just a pleasant person to be around when, you know, your days are numbered, you know, and you know it, and you know, you're facing death, and she's just doing her part, you know. And even in this session we had at the beginning of it, the part that wasn't transcribed, there was this meeting of helpers. I think she said there was like 30 people in there, and I was in there. That's sort of why I was like, how am I here doing the session, but I'm in this meeting you're seeing me in? And it was sort of my higher self there. And, you know, I'm like, well, how long is our list of people we're helping? And it was funny because Prince was also there, the singer that passed away. And he said, she had me unroll my list, and it, you know, and her list was really long, and my list was really long, and Prince was like, you shouldn't have did that. Now you got to roll it back up. You know, it was just kind of a funny thing.
Oh no, it's awesome. It's great. You know, we're just all famous, and we're just going to get to find out more and more how intertwined and, you know, overlapping our experiences are. Like, you know, we're having our individual experiences, but we're all woven into each other's experiences. So we have both going on. So interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say something. When it was mentioned that we named it the Mandela Effect, I love that because, yeah, we did that. That's our Mandela Effect. That's what we're calling this. You know?
Yeah.
Like part of us, it's our one conscious working together, and it's just really exciting.
Yeah, but that was directly connected with and I actually say that all the time when people are like, well, what happened with the event? It's supposed to be happening. I'm like, well, the sun's getting brighter because, we pictured this solar flash like back, a lot of people cover that, like Allison Coe and many others talked about this solar flash. And, even David Wilcock, I think he was talking about this way back in 2012 even or something, a long time ago. And I was saying that if you speed up time and you look at our sun, it would look like it flashed. You can't really expect somebody in a short hypnosis session to see the sun get brighter over years and years and years. So if it's happening and it's taking years for it to slowly get brighter, but you speed up the last 20 years and watch it in like 2 seconds, then it would look like it flashed, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's so much to think about.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have the fun of maybe, because we all love the explosive event. The idea of this big boom blast and it's just, but, and I think that we'll have those. I think we'll have some explosive, exciting shared events together and then some gradual, slow moving, kind of chilled awakenings together and individually.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. What's really cool, Susan, is like, and I've talked about this before, but like when I first discovered the Mandela effect, me and my sister, we've always been really close. We're a couple years apart or whatever. And I was thinking it was sort of this rapture sort of, growing up in Christianity, I thought it was this sort of rapture thing happening or something. And, the Bible was changing. And I called her up. She's a minister. Her and her husband are both ministers. And, I'm like, you guys got to look at this. The Bible's changing, and she was like, yeah, we looked it up. We see it's changing. We're going to have to get back to you on this. And then, like, I don't know, I gave her a couple of days. I thought maybe she was in shock about it or something. I called back a couple of days later. Look, we're on this trip right now. We can't talk right now. I'm like, okay. And then I give her a couple more days, call her back. Look, I'm with the pastor's wife right now. I can't talk about it. I'm like, well, you just call me when you get time or whatever, and never called me. So it's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months later, she's like, hey, can you, write this book review for me? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been waiting for 3 months for you to call me back. This is like the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. And I thought, you'd think you'd have these people to depend on when something like this happens. I always imagine that, we'd be there discussing this stuff and, and she was nowhere to be found. She went on, I guess she just went on with what she's doing. So, in this session, it was talking about how as we shift upward, the people around us are going to begin to shift upward too, and we'll shift it'll be like a higher version of them, So she's been trying to call me the last few days, and she's been calling, like one day I was on the air when she called, so I couldn't answer it. Another day I saw she called before I woke up, and so then today she finally got a hold of me, and she's like, look, there's this new show on Netflix. You got to check it out. It's called, what was it called? America's Book of Secrets or something, And she starts telling me about the different episodes in it, right? And it's all the stuff that I've been like looking at for the last 10 years, like deep underground bases.
That's funny.
Yeah, and secret societies and, the Masons. And I probably already triggered the thing already, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, she's mentioning all this stuff on this show, and I'm like, I'm just listening, She goes, you'll really love this episode. It's about, Area 51 and aliens. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like where I was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something, But then she goes, and they were talking about time travel, and I think it might have something to do with that Mandela effect that you were talking about, And I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me, She's finally coming around. She actually brought the Mandela effect up to me. I wasn't even going to bring it up because it's like, clearly it's, triggering her or something. But it took me back to today's transcripts and how it was like saying that you'll see people being kinder and more loving and switching with you to seem like the same person, but it's a higher version of them. As you move upward, you start seeing the higher versions of people around you, and it really encouraged me because I'm like, well, maybe I am moving upward, and I need to, be open to people that sort of wouldn't talk to me, and maybe they're trying to reach out again. Maybe, things are changing. So it was definitely an encouragement. Yeah. The name of that show is America's Book of Secrets. Somebody's asking in the chat. Not so fancy Nancy. What's up, Nancy?
Hi, Nancy. Oh, sweet Nancy. Everybody, I just, I can't wait to start using what you, the blog. I'm going to start using it, and I'm gonna clear the line. I just love that I got through, and I want to just love to everyone, Terry, pork chop Terry, and the Michelle. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they keep calling in, and I keep getting to hear everybody, and so I know what's going on with you guys.
Yeah, you guys call in and let's get our vibes up together.
Ronnie.
We do have people in the
listening.
Ronnie. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I love you, Susan. Thank you for taking the time to call in.
Love
and
you.
Give Terry and Shira, when you see her, a big hug for me.
Yes, love from all of us to all of you.
All
Thanks.
right. No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Let's see, I'll get your name off of there, Susan, before I forget. Anybody in the call-in chat or in the call-in queue, if you do want to talk, just hit *2 on your phone. Or if you're joining from the computer, you can just click the raise hand button. And I do want to let you guys know you can join from the phone number. There's international phone numbers. Matter of fact, let me put them up on the screen for you. There you go. And you can join from the website. Going to go back to the phone line, 608 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hi, Shane. It's Laura Lee.
Laura, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
It was meant to be because, I started the show and I realized it still had your name up from last time. I'm like, oops.
Oh, really? Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, a little
and I
synchronicity.
wasn't ready right away to start.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. So for people that don't remember the last show, because we skipped last week, we had a storm here in Tulsa, but you were the final caller on the last show. That's why your name was still on the screen. But we had decided to do a BQH session, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk about some of the difficulties that people will come across in the because it's not always easy. It's not always like, in fact, Sherry's, the one I released today, is a rare occurrence. I mean, most people don't go that deep. Most people will, if they can get beyond, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about your session, if they can sort of get beyond the that barrier that can sometimes be there. And I face that too, Laura. I want to let you know I've had 2 sessions now, and one of them I couldn't get beyond that barrier either. So my first one was successful, but my second one was like yours, but I never even got beyond it. So I've had difficulties too. And sometimes that happens,
I think just hearing your transcript with her today also, it made me realize that I think a lot of times we're so in our heads and in like this, we have to be in control mindset that even when we're letting go, we don't feel like we're letting go because we don't know how to, because we don't know how to just be, because we're so busy at always just trying to do and make everything happen, or we don't feel like we can let go of that control because it's scary, because vulnerability is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very vulnerable situation when you are allowing something bigger than you. It's like not like shutting down your ego, but in a sense, it's like kind of allowing yourself to just be uber aware at the same time, like completely non-judgmental of any thoughts or ideas that come to you in the moment.
Letting down your guard, that's probably the biggest
Letting your
hurdle.
guard down. Yep.
Yeah.
Letting go of control.
And for me, I just had so many things on my mind at the time. I wasn't really in a high vibe state. And like with your session, we had a lot of difficulties getting
It took us a while.
Yeah, it took us a while, but I'm patient,
But we got to a high vibe state. That was the crazy part.
Absolutely. A state where you feel extremely blissful, a state where you really can tell you're high vibing. I mean, you can feel your body vibrating and all of that, you know?
Right? I haven't been there again, and I just think about, like, I know you can go back there, but I do also think that it took, like, you know, a few different techniques to get to that state of being. And, like, if you don't meditate every day like a lot of people do, or like I used to, it doesn't just happen super quick. But I think having these expectations also can be the big blockers of allowing it to happen when you have a mindset that it has to happen in a certain amount of time, or like it's a game, or you know, like there's a time limit or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so when you can just let go of any of that and just go into it with like a brand new beginner's mind, which it should be because it was the first time I've had a session. But I do think anyone, I think it's just worth a try to anyone, because you have literally no idea what is going to come out of it when you can just go in and not be having any expectations, would be just going with an open mind and open vibration, and just like, you know, like we always talk about, just like thoughts of being happy and just being open to any opportunity, just be, and that was the big message that did come through.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was.
Yes, that was my message. It was the huge message. But I wanted to talk about, too, with Sherry's session and, like, with the Schumann resonance lately, with the, I've actually just gone on YouTube and, you know, like, done a hashtag Schumann resonance and tried to find as many videos as possible on it lately, because I feel like the energies have been so, like, intense.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people feel it, and other times people don't, or when these energies are intense, people get really, really tired, or they get really excitable or anxious, or, you know, all of these emotions that come about out of nowhere, and you're having all these feelings all of a sudden. I think they're also related to the Schumann resonance. And for like 30 or 36 hours, I think it was blank. It went down. It was a blackout. And that happened back in October also. Where it was just completely, there was no readings. It was a blackout, and there was no, they never said why. There was no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
And so you start to wonder, was it so off the charts that they didn't want people to worry? Was it was it literally had nothing to do with anybody, and it just literally blacked out? You know what I mean? Like all the things, because when it came back on and you saw the spikes, that they were up, like the power was like at 60, and it was for big pillars of time, not just little spikes. So I just thought that was notable, and that was something also. So I wanted to ask, when you were talking about your session with Sherry, and the Mandela effect was brought up, and it was her response, her pure consciousness coming through and responding. Did you guys talk about it beforehand or after, or like, had you ever said anything at all through the session to bring out the Mandela effect from her higher consciousness, or was that something that came out to you without any
matter of fact,
buffers, or without you bringing it up?
No, matter of fact, of course she knows about the Mandela effect. She's known about it since, I think, 2015 or something. But no, we hadn't talked about it that day. In fact, the Law of One, she's never read it. She's wanted to read it, but she knows nothing about the Law of One. So, yeah, it was basically like she's like a smartphone to the super consciousness. You know what I mean?
That is crazy.
Isn't it?
Yes, I was just like, oh my God, did you talk about that before? Because it was her response to you, not you asking about it. So I had to ask, like, did you say anything about it beforehand?
No, we never even talked about it. Never even talked about it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool. But like I said, the Law of One was even...
resonance?
Yep, we hadn't talked. We, not that day or anything. In fact, we didn't really even talk before the session.
Wow.
Yeah, just a few.
Because that came out too, and it
talk.
was like that was a big thing for us.
Yeah.
I think Schumann resonance is kind of like a diamond in the rough in a sense, like where it's like this. People, you might have heard about it, or you hear it, or you're like, is that a band? Or, because there are bands by that name, or there's songs by that name. So it really throws you off, even if you start to go try to Google it or search it.
Yeah.
And then when you finally get to the disclosure website and go, oh, holy crap, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
But it's like super hard to get to. I think some things that it's a disclosure thing, yet we can't find it. It's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really awesome to really know that, I've talked with Sherry enough that I know that she doesn't really know about a lot of the things I talked about in there, but I also knew I really wasn't talking to her or her subconscious mind or anything like that. I knew I knew the moment, and then I even asked her afterwards because, so she was in this meeting, at the beginning of her session, and I'm like, well, can we leave here and try to go and meet with the super consciousness? I'd like to get these questions asked. And so she left out of that room, and they directed her to this other room, and she goes into this room, and she's like, he must be in here, or it must be in here, or whatever. And she goes in there, and she's like, the room is empty. I'm like, well, let's just have a seat, and we'll see if he comes through, and she sat on this beanbag, and she didn't remember much of the session. But she remembered, she goes, oh my gosh, I remember the beanbag. This was after the session was over. I was asking her what she remembered, She said, I remember the beanbag. She said it looked like a brain. So she sat down in this brain-looking beanbag, and then the super consciousness started talking to her. I'm like, that is so freaking cool. You can't even make stuff like that up,
Right. And it's like those videos that you keep seeing, and it's like you can't make this stuff up. Like, you'll see them, and it made me think of multiple different Allison Coe BQH sessions that she had discussed, and done what you did, where she read the dialogue or whatever, and had talked about like this meeting, and so she was doing the session had the client, and the client was in this meeting, and like had zero clue that on a daily she was going to this ship, and she was, in charge of all of these certain things that are going to happen at the event, or, to be there to help when the new Earth or the 5D Earth or whatever it is that we want to call it happens.
Right.
And she had no recollection of that at all until after the session, and, they talked about it after, and there were multiple sessions where Allison Coe had that. So for you to have it, and for them to say that you were in the meeting, and you're like, you were just like, yeah, whatever. Like, didn't.
I'm like, I'm right here. I'm not in some meeting.
It's far-fetched to believe that, right? Exactly. But then that just totally comes into play where you think, okay, so we are fractals. We are in several different dimensions at one time, and that's where we really have to start to come to a more of a, like, as hard as it is, because it's so far-fetched, but for us to like kind of start to come into a realization that at any given time we choose our timeline. So we have that power to decide, I choose the best one. I choose my highest self. I choose the one where I'm living my best life. I choose the one where I'm not stuck in politics, where I'm not worried about my car payment, where I'm not like, in all of these lower vibration dimension of myself, because I know that there's greater out there of me and for me, and that it's happening all at once, but I have to tune in to that vibration, to that timeline. And when we can start to use our imaginations more, when we can start to be kids again, when we can start to be open to any possibility, and again, like a big message that I felt like came through with Sherry was that it was to have more fun and to quit taking things so serious. So when we start to do that, and we start to actually go, oh my gosh, if I just, I remember like these Gaia, whatever, some commercials or whatever that were coming through on YouTube for the longest time, like months ago, that were like, when you start to have fun with the universe starts to have fun with you, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that was their tagline. And it's like, that's not far-fetched. That's not a joke. It's not like, I mean, yeah, it was a good selling point for people to go and probably check out their channel, right? But in all reality, when we're really dealing with, like, because everything is heavy in this 3D density, in this life that is so concrete and so hard to understand or navigate sometimes, because it is really real, you know, because we take it so darn serious. So when we start to go, okay, have more fun, laugh more, sing merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Like, start to live in that mindset. Try to walk between two worlds. Try to keep our heads in the clouds. Like, do all the things that we got in trouble for in school, by daydreaming, by thinking outside of the box and believing that anything was possible. And just really start to just have more fun and believe that, yes, there is definitely another Laura out there that's having a better experience than this Laura, and I want to be that one. So I want to feel myself living that vibration and experiencing that timeline and enjoying that life and living that, you know, awesomeness, that vibration. And so how do we get our minds there? But the only way we do it is to collectively and individually believe that it is possible, and to quit trying to control what is, and then start to desire and think more about what it is that we want versus what it is that is our current reality.
Exactly, and I think that's an excellent point, because that's what I've been doing the last few years, is just getting beyond the limits that I've placed on what's even possible. And, you know, the Mandela effect was sort of my big one that sort of broke the mold of saying, well, oh my gosh, anything's possible if stuff can just change, right, you know, from what I knew it to be.
Like, it's happening in front of our eyes
right.
for that reason, to show us, look, you can think Stouffer's made the stuffing all you want, but Kraft did it, so there, boom, in your face. And you're just like, what?
Mind blown. Yeah, I had to go back and clear off.
Real.
Yeah.
Exactly. So nothing is really that real, and nothing is really that concrete, and nothing is really as it is.
Yeah.
Nike will always be just do it until it's not, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, if you think about all of the taglines and all of the branding, the marketing, the stuff that gets put in our face every day, and then it changes, and it's like your whole point of asking about, you know, certain aspects of our reality. It was like the political, that aspect that you were asking, like, is that really meant for us to focus on, or is that meant for us for other things? So if you take that with the branding, with the marketing, with the Haas avocados, or the Stouffer's stuffing, or, you know, the Berenstain Bears, like, if you look at it, it's all of those things, and you start to look at them as, well, they can change, so can my life.
Right.
That's when we are actually doing what we're brought here to do, what we're creating our reality as we see it, as we want it to be, and not as it is right now, and we dwell in it, but yet rather rise above it and say, here's what I really want. And I was joking earlier in the chat, and I was like talking about my Mercedes-Benz as a joke, because I'm like, you know, that sweet car of mine, I just can't remember where I parked it, and so if I start, like, living in that reality, then I'll have it, right?
Oh, totally.
I don't know. But
and that's why I try to,
because it's like, holy crap, we need to have fun.
Yeah, I try to encourage people not to see it as the devil or Satan doing it, because once you do that, it's like, all right, let's say if it's Satan or the devil doing it, are you really thinking he was going to change a logo? I mean, no, he'd create a hole with a pit of fire underneath you and drop you in it, right? That's. I'm sure
he'd
do
way devilish things to do.
Right. I'm sure it wouldn't be so subtle and so, you know. So anyway, so getting beyond that is when you open yourself up that maybe it's a benevolent force trying to just sort of nudge me awake to realize that, look, reality is not what you think it is. And once you realize it's a benevolent force, our higher self or whatever is causing it, that's sort of waking us up to this, then you realize that, oh my gosh, I could be about to drive off a cliff and they'll create a road or a bridge for me as well. That was seemingly always there. You know what I mean?
There. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's so funny because it's like it comes down to duality, to we have to see that evil to experience the good. But right now, where we're at as a society, as a collective, they want us to be more in line with polarity versus duality. Like, so yes, you do need the good to know the bad, versus duality where it has to be evil and good, and they have to exist at the same time, where they don't really.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say doesn't make as much sense. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like you said, if there's really a devil out there, like what he's going to do is tell you that there was just never Stouffer stuffing and it's always been Kraft and you're just going to like lose your freaking mind. Right. No, but it is unsettling when you realize that somebody tells you that it never really was that, or that Mandela died then, or he didn't die then and he is alive or was alive in 2013.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's more of a mind fuck, and I don't mean to say that, but it is, because it is.
But we need that. We need something stern but gentle.
That's
you
what
know?
It has to shift us to a point to wake up. It has to be something that disrupts our current reality.
Yeah, it's got to have that WTF moment where you're like, wait a minute, you know.
Right. Like what certain people, it's going to take certain things. It's going to take certain shifts, certain like jolt of holy, what are you're kidding me, you know, when somebody says like life was like a box of chocolates. Like, no, it was never like a box of chocolates. Life is like a box of chocolates, right?
Right.
But
I think that's
one of them. Or Luke,
I love that message.
Father. Like, those are things.
I love that message that came through with that actually Kimberly Lynn Hansen did and I don't know why I didn't cover this one, but it was perfect because I left it for her to cover it, and it was brand new when she did it. But I got that back then. It was like, you know, that's a change from life is like a box of chocolates to life was like a box of chocolates. And when you look at that, what it's saying is you never know what you're going to get. Well, it used to be you didn't know what you were going to get. Now you know you're going to manifest what you want. You know what you're going to get. It's going to be what you focus on.
It's more of a opening for people to realize that we are the ones creating this, not be scared because these are things changing under our noses. No. Don't be scared. Be aware and be okay with it, and join in on creating your own perfect reality.
Yeah.
It's like that. If you build it, he will come. It was always he will come, and then now it's they will come. Because somebody in their wildness of creations of their realities decided that's what they wanted, or I don't know why that happened.
Yeah,
but
and I like the duality.
I remember just being
there's a delay.
So scared out of my mind about all of this. And just, I think it was scary because it was like our minds, we weren't like, I wasn't open to somebody telling me that something I knew my whole life to be what it was changing. And I think, and that's where so many of us get stuck in a weird situation or confrontation when we try to tell people that we have known our whole lives the same thing, and that they knew it the way we knew it, and then all of a sudden they can't understand it either, and it's to each his own, and we all deal with it on our own time.
Yeah.
But it's that seed that we're planting for each and every one of them to investigate a little further and to either run with it and allow it to awaken them, or say, I'm not ready yet. And then like the person you were talking about earlier, that you and who was on the call with you earlier. Well, anyways, how you were talking about how all of the Mandela effects and the things that you tried to tell her and the changes in the Bible. And then finally, on her terms, when it was okay, when she was ready, she came to you and told you about it. It's like, so you planted the seed, and it was there, and it got watered, and you were worried it died, and it didn't. It was just, everyone does it on their own terms. Everyone does it in their own time. But the fact that it is happening and that we're all doing it is what is super important, whereas I feel like a year ago when I started talking about it to people, I was still a little bit of a skeptic. And I thought, I must just be losing my mind, and I shouldn't be really talking about this because they're probably going to lock me up, you know? And I think we've all gone through that moment of where we're all like, we're all going to get locked up. Like, somebody's going to tell us, like, that we're just not right, you know?
Right.
That everything has always been as it is, and nothing is changeable, and it's a one-timeline universe. And we all are completely aware now, and so many other science and metaphysics sites have told us different, that there are more than one timeline. And then we're now stuck in this, are we in a holographic universe, or what are we in, or are we creating this reality, or whatever it is. But the most important part of it all, I think, to take away from any of it, if we still don't realize where we are or what we're living, is that as long as we're doing it in a positive, loving, like blissful way or state of mind, then we're doing it right, and that we can't mess it up, and that we'll never get it done. Like Abraham Hicks always says, we'll never get it wrong, and we'll never get it done, because like it'll take 30 lifetimes to manifest all of the things that we truly desire in this world. But when we're on that path, to realize that we might go to work and we might work around as cynics all day, or we might be in an office building where energy vampires are sucking the lives out of us. But deep down in our hearts, we know that there's something greater out there, and that we long for it and we yearn for it. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, you hear the Schumann resonance, and you hear of all these things that like give you confirmation that the feelings you've been having, the anxiety that comes along with the not knowing, or with the raising of the earth's vibration, like it all is real, and that we're not losing our minds, and that like it's okay that we're all going through this, and we're waking up to it together.
I know. Can you imagine doing this alone? Oh my God.
All of these possibilities. Oh my, no, I did. I met you guys. I found your channel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, I'll still talk to people about it, and that you think are pretty open, and maybe, you know, higher conscious, like, or just people who you think are operating on a higher level, and you'll say things, and all of a sudden you'll get the deer in the headlights look, and you're like, oh my God, I did it again. Oh God, is this really happening? And you're just like, you're like, is this the Twilight Zone? Is this really happening again? Like, you don't, I don't know.
Yeah, that was one of the
sometimes
things
you don't know when.
With meeting with other people that, you know, because even on one level you're like, man, am I imagining all these people online that agree with me, or do they really exist? So it was nice to actually start meeting people in real life, and like, okay, they're real people. I've hugged them. I felt them. I know that they're really there, you know. Because at first you're like, I'm going to have to start playing along with everybody, you know, and you go through all these things. You're like, are they going to try to take my kids away because I've lost it? And you think a lot of things, you know.
Yes.
And you know, and then you've got a spouse that's like, you know, well, one of us has to hold it together, and, you know, and you're like, oh, I'm not losing it, you know. So I don't know. It just gets pretty.
No,
it gets pretty
but then
crazy.
like the thinker statue is such a good example of people having the experience and having the pictures of them posing as the statue was prior to the Mandela effect, and it changing and them not.
Right.
Which I don't understand some of that, because some things morph and some things do not morph. However,
it seems to be connected with human consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the more that we're aware that we are not, like, so we are not our bodies, our consciousness, we are in this body, we are in this consciousness, we are eternal, sovereign beings having a human experience.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes such a crazy, wild human experience that we think, why are we having this? Is this torture? Is this, you know, sometimes you think, because things don't go well, we start to think negative.
Yeah.
But that's when things start going worse. And so when we start to go, okay, well, I don't like how this is going, I'm going to start to think about things that I do want versus focusing on the negative that's happening. And now I feel like I'm Abraham Hicksing this up, but it's true. It is the law of attraction, and it does come down to thinking about creating the reality that we desire, not thinking about the one that is currently here. And this isn't new. This isn't something that's brand new. This didn't just happen now or 20 or 100 years ago. This happened back in Socrates and the time of, Plato. Like, they were doing the same thing. They were creating and manifesting their own realities at that time. They did not. So, like, all of that was happening. It's always been happening. It's not new. But when we start to realize, like, so then can we give our minds a break and go, okay, so whoa, this happened like then? Okay, so we're okay. We're all okay. Everyone is okay. Everything is okay. Everything is exactly as it is meant to be.
Oh, totally, yeah. And I really like the part where I was like, so where you're speaking to me from, is there duality there or not? And they're like, duality is observed but not experienced. And I'm like, that's pretty interesting, because that's where I've been trying to get to. I've been trying to understand that, people we typically think of as human monsters, you think of maybe what they've gone through, the abuse maybe they suffered, and the conditions they were raised in, and you start thinking about all that stuff, and then you realize that, wow, that could have been me if I was put in all of those same conditions. And you just sort of observe the duality rather than passing judgment on people. And, and that sort of allows you to love people even if they're seemingly unlovable,
Exactly. I think it's all perspective, and that's like a huge part of your channel. Your channel is about being unbiased and on the fence. It's really about what perspective are you looking at this situation with? Where are you coming at it? So everyone on this planet, like, it's like the double slit experiment, where you can see it from one angle and somebody can see it from another, and it has a completely different result, right? And that's nuts. That's pretty crazy to think that there's a chance that everything doesn't all add up. It doesn't all equal zero in the end. It's like it all can be. It's all perspective.
Yeah.
So when we all start to shift our perspective, and we all start to shift our thinking, our hearts start to become more open to love and more closed on the hate, and whatever. Like, when we just kind of start to change our whole thinking, it sounds so easy, and it sounds so, like, I feel like sometimes, like, we can all just hold hands and sing Kumbaya and life will be better, right?
Right.
I don't think that's that far off.
Right. We used to laugh at the people that think that,
calls. I know. And that's, like, your whole reason for, like, the power of 8, like, and the meditations. And, like, it's literally, like, Tesla's quote many decades ago, or not decades, but a long time ago, he was like, when we start to focus on the non-physical, we're going to come leaps and bounds in what we can discover about what's really happening, because reality is so unreal. It's like the most wildest thing when you really think about it, because we don't realize, I guess the most major thing is, all of us, anyone listening to this call and anyone that ever hears this, is we are all powerful creators of our own reality. That is the biggest, most important thing to realize. But we, as a society, as a human, as a person, as, an individual in our lives, and I'm not saying all of us, but I'm saying myself, I have definitely gone through turmoil in my life and points where I just thought I was unworthy of good things, or good things were just never going to happen. And so in that mindset, in the mindset where we don't feel worthy of anything good, we're not able to create anything good, because that vibration that we're giving off isn't the vibration of the universe that wants to give us the things that we desire, that we truly desire and deserve. Because if it's low, it's not going to come align with the things that we want. Right? So it's always us throwing off, instead of saying, okay, I want this and I deserve it. And there is no reason that we have to give ourselves to deserve anything. It's just the matter of fact that we are all sovereign beings that deserve whatever it is that we desire in this life for the greatest good of ourselves and all involved, right?
Yeah.
So, but the minute we shoot doubt towards that idea, that concept, then we think, well, I don't deserve that because, I got a speeding ticket last week or something silly. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, we completely shut down the universe from opening that portal up to giving us the desire that we want because we tell ourselves we're not good enough and we're not worthy of it.
Yeah, we do all
and so when we're all out here
ourselves.
thinking that we're powerful creators and we're not manifesting the things and desires of our lives, and we all wonder why am I not bringing all of these desires into fruition? I think I'm a good person. I think I deserve it. It's because we're shooting ourselves down the second we have that desire.
Yeah.
Because we come up with a reason we don't deserve it. And so when we can let go of any reason to not have it, and we can just feel the joy and bliss and love of having that actual thing, then that's when we open ourselves up to having those things come into our lives and being magnetized towards us.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there I feel like Abraham Hicks, because I feel like I'm thinking about that is literally what what those sessions are always about. It's like getting into that vibration of deserving and not deserving, but just knowing that what you desire is available to you.
Yeah, getting in the vortex.
If you can just not getting in the vortex.
Yeah.
If you can just not shoot yourself down.
Yeah,
and we're all human, and we all make mistakes, and we all have a past we don't love, but that doesn't mean we don't deserve all the great things in the world that everyone wants and desires. There's no reason not to have it. And
That's
when
right.
everyone starts to desire those things and receives those things, everyone stops thinking about the negative things that are happening in this world, and we shift our reality. So in a sense, when people can start manifesting the things that they want in their own lives, it's going to start happening on a larger scale, because we'll start doing it on our smaller scale of our own lives, but that's only bringing positivity into our lives, which brings in higher vibration into others' lives.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's the fun journey.
Here I go getting on the call. I'm like, I don't know if I got anything to say, but I guess I'll jump on.
See, you have no problem tapping in,
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
And, and it's like, that's how it was with, like, say, a T. Taylor session. She did like what you're doing now, where she just sort of got into that stream of higher consciousness and was just, coming through with all sorts of great information that, and that's kind of that's why I do my shows unscripted, because if I try to stick too much to a script, then I get in the way of that happening,
Because we're trying to control something that's not meant to be controlled.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's sort of just becoming a vessel and being used in that way. And, I used to love when church would go off script. I'm like, oh, now this is some church right here, and the music would play extra long, and you'd have people standing up and prophesying.
Yes.
And, I was raised in a Pentecostal church, so we got, they were the holy rollers, as they say, and they got wild, and it was like, it was boring if it didn't get that way, because you could tell when the higher consciousness or spirit or Holy Ghost, whatever they would call it, the Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit, would come through. And to me, that's when church was. The other part, I was like falling asleep on. I didn't want it unless people were jumping around and shouting, and you could feel the tingles going through your body and all that stuff. To me, that was enjoyable. That was high vibe action for me as a kid, and even just watching people. You didn't have to even participate. You could just watch people jumping around and acting crazy, and it was fun,
Because you were feeding off of their vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't do those things if they weren't feeling it,
No, and that takes me back to my session. Like when I finally got to a point of letting go and relaxing and just like being in the moment and not trying to control anything and not trying to have an outcome. Like my vibration got so high. Like I was like, literally, I told you, I'm vibrating. Like my body is vibrating. And you're just like, even in your email back, you're like, yep, I felt it too. Like the minute I got raised up, you did too.
Yeah.
Because it was completely open vibes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've been amazed at how much.
And
I can
all the
feel,
answers
you know?
were so simple, were they not?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times it's like that. It's like she knows this already, especially if it goes into like a third person, and you know, she knows this already. But you know, it helps to have that verification. You know what I mean? To actually hear it, and you're like, yeah, I knew it. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of the stuff that came through in Sherry's session. That's why a lot of it, like I couldn't understand some of what she said, and I would like repeat it back. That's why the questions are sort of like they are, because afterwards I'm like, can you listen at, 22 minutes and whatever and tell me what you think you're saying right here? You know, because I repeated it back and it was okay, but I wanted that response. So if it seems like in some of it that I sort of said something redundant, it was to make sure I was getting the point, because a lot of times you're getting stuff not through the person's words, but it's like getting downloaded to you at the same time. You'll see pictures that they're showing you what they're talking about, and you get these pictures in your mind, and so then I repeat stuff back to make sure that I was getting the right picture. So, and she was even saying that she was looking at the transcripts and saying that it looks like you were like channeling, and I was like, yeah, it's sort of like that,
That
That's
is
why I
so
can tell
cool.
stuff's coming through,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like we were working together to come up with the information. But she was totally out of it, But we're in this meeting together, too, on a
Right.
different level. So it was just weird. Reality is not what we think it is. Like you were just saying, reality isn't real, And that's when I got the Oscar Mayer message, because it's Oscar Mayer, it was like, what's the baloney? What's the BS? That there's no such thing as the real world. It's the lie you have to rise above,
Mm-hmm. Right, and does John Mayer even realize how powerful that lyric is? Did he write that? Like, it's so insane when you start to, like, break them down.
Yeah. He taps in.
For
He's got
anyone that has not heard of, like, go
yeah,
ahead.
his music. Yeah, he's got an album called Inside, Wanting Out, Waiting for the World to Change. He's got a lot of them that I feel like I'm like, oh, man, he just directly channeled this, and he just had no idea. It's just a fun little song. But maybe he does know. Maybe he knows looking back on it. Kind of like I created my logo out of thinking I just kind of threw it together, and then all of this meaning started coming out of it later, and I was like, wait a minute, I was inspired,
Right, and nothing is a coincidence. And
Right.
all of a sudden you start to realize, like, that idea was coming from somewhere. It may have felt like your brain, but it may have felt like somewhere deeper and further out. And I think also when we start to think about logos and we're putting labels on things, and that's why you had a hard time trying to figure out how to do it, because we're not good at that. I remember, like, this is a weird thing, but I remember this like a year ago, like, always showering and having the outside of the bottles of shampoo or whatever, like, always turned in. Like, I never had the labels pointed out. And I didn't, like, I always just thought it was weird. Like, maybe that's just how I set them back down on the, in the shower. But then I started to think about, like, the minute you put a label on something, it kind of loses its magic. It loses its mysteriousness, because you've already determined what it is, and then that's it. Like, and I remember one time all of a sudden having this writing come to me, like, about an apple. And, like, back in the day, you would put it on somebody's head as a target for archery, right? Or you could actually just eat it, and it's good for you, or it was like for applesauce. But the minute you label it as it is just this one thing, it loses its, like, beauty. Or I think we label things in this world. We are labeled with names, like, we're labeled. So I think so much stuff has been designed for us to realize what a matrix we're living in.
Yeah.
And, like, the session you had, it was also that, like, are we living in a video game? Well, the pieces are all there. The puzzle is not put together. All the pieces are there. Everything's aligned perfectly. If we start to allow it to be and to just kind of come together instead of trying to force it or assume it needs to be a different way, and we start to go with the flow. So when we start to do the flow versus the force, things happen in a positive way, and all of a sudden, like, and then but we doubt ourselves, and also we're like, no, that's just too good to be true, and then we try to control things, and then things start going wrong, or they go south, or they don't work out the way they're supposed to, or your car breaks down, or you get a flat tire, or the universe starts throwing stops at us to say, look, I had this, everything was working out just like it was supposed to, and then all of a sudden you started trying to do your thing.
Yeah.
Thinking that it wasn't working divinely as it's meant to. So one of our other biggest obstacles is control and allowing things to just truly flow.
Mm-hmm.
As hard as it is to let go of it. And as you and I had emailed not too long ago about a person that I had, thought was something
mm-hmm.
significant in my life, and thinking that whatever it had to be, and I have let go of that, like thinking, and let go of any control of it. If you love something, set it free. If it's
mm-hmm.
yours, it comes back to you. If it doesn't, it never was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that thinking is difficult. But I think at the same time, I'm not here to control my destiny. I'm here to enjoy my life and live in a positive state of mind without trying to control too much. And I think we have become we're in a world of control, mm-hmm. where we must control everything, and that's not the case.
Right.
And so I think it's really hard to try to learn to let go when you're like, okay, well, my kid has a soccer game at 7, and I have this at 8, and I have this at, whatever. You have all these things. You have all these commitments. You have all these obligations. I understand that. But I also understand that letting things just happen, going to these obligations, doing the things that will all work out as it's meant to be. And if one of those things isn't supposed to happen, it won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when we start to try to really take a whole full reign on it, that's when things just go south.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I don't know. I just went off on a little tangent, but I'm just trying to say, I think I was trying too hard to control something that I can't, and that isn't meant to be controlled. And sometimes going with the flow is the hardest thing in the world, especially with energies and the way things go these days. But I think the reason that these energies are being brought to us and the way that the Schumann resonance is happening
mm-hmm.
is more divine and more brought to us by a higher power than we give credit to.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like the one thing we don't have a real control. We can read it, we can try to gauge it, but we can't control it. But we allow it to be there and to be happening. And when we start to allow it to be a positive thing versus a negative thing,
mm-hmm.
that's a good control, right? It's coming into our lives for a reason, and we're aware of it for a reason.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned from this whole thing and letting go is just realizing that I don't have all of the information to make the decision. So it's actually liberating when you reach a certain point where you're like, well, this isn't the way
mm-hmm.
I wanted it to go, but evidently this is the way it should be going. And to
mm-hmm.
just let go of that and let it and go with the flow and just realize that, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about this. I'm so glad I don't have all the answers. In fact, the less information I have about something and the less control I have, the more liberating it is, because I know it's handled. Yeah, it's handled by my higher self or something else or God or whatever it is,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let it go, let it be, let love, just like look at everything in the lens of love,
mm-hmm.
and it just do your thing and go with the flow, even as hard as it feels sometimes. Going against the grain feels harder. It's
mm-hmm.
more difficult, and it causes more pain than pleasure. And so when we can kind of start to let that be our reality and go, well, I know what I want,
mm-hmm.
I know what I would love, and just focus on those things and not try to control it, then that's when things can really start to hopefully come into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And if not right away, it doesn't always happen right away. And that's the other thing. We're so used to instant gratification in this modern world that we're living in. We are used to, like, oh my gosh, if Shane's show is supposed to start at 7:30 and it starts at 7:31, oh my God, is he here? Is he going to come here? Is it happening? Like, I'm joking, but, like, seriously, that's how we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, 1 minute. It's like, but that's how we are. And all of a sudden, we don't realize how I don't know, we're overly in control of things.
Yeah.
That we don't really need to be.
Yeah, because we actually get in the way, don't we?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Well, awesome.
I feel like I should let somebody else talk, but I do really appreciate having this convo. And it was
definitely,
nice
Laura.
talking with you again.
Yeah, definitely, Laura. Thanks for calling in.
Awesome.
Lots of
You're
love to you.
welcome. Lots of love and light to everyone. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
All right, going back to the phone line, 661 area code. Who am I talking to?
It's Michelle, long time no talk.
Hi, Michelle. How's it going?
Well, I've been kind of taking a little bit of a break on the YouTube thing, but still lurking.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that I'm completely gone. I lurk around and still listen to your show. But I did want to talk a little bit. I know you've already touched on this a couple times, but the 17-hour blackout on the Schumann resonance.
Mm-hmm.
I have a link that will take people to the, where it'll up-to-date them on the Schumann. I think you have one on your website, but when I went and clicked on the one on your website, it didn't go there. So so I don't know. You may want to replace it with this one. You might like it better because there's also articles and other things on there, but it does do the up-to-date, pretty close, like, up to within hours of the Schumann resonance. So been paying attention to that, and to have that 17-hour blackout, the last one we had was in October, and it was only for a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that, like, people, and this weird moon cycle we just had, beginning of this week, was very, very odd. Almost a full moon for 3 days in a row was very odd, and people purging. I've had a lot of people, like, contact me and just need someone to listen to them, like, just to purge it out and stuff like that. I'm sure you have too, but it's like a great cleansing. But I also wanted to bring up that we all have our sovereignty, and we are all here to have our experiences. And with each of us having sovereignty and our experiences, they do impact other people. Mm-hmm. So what we do has a direct, effect on others around us. That's why we treat people with love and respect, how we want to be treated. But then some things get thrown at us out of left field, like what happened to me, which made a very rough Christmas, which made me kind of go a little quiet for a while and get through what I've got to go through, because my heart is connected to my mind. It's a heart-mind what I'm talking about.
Oh, and there's not much harder. There's not much harder than losing a child. I mean, that's got to rank right there at the top of, big tests and big trials and big obstacles to get over. So, yeah, I'm glad that you had a loving community to at least, talk to and stuff, because I just can't imagine what you and your husband have been through. So.
And my son. My son is not doing well with it, and I got to be strong for him too. So it was hard. Every first is going to be hard. I'm sure it'll get easier as time goes on, but we just need to think about that every action. Even if, hers was a complete accident. She was sitting passenger, died instantly in a car crash. Things like this happen, but they do affect the people who deeply love. And that tells you how deep our hearts are. That, your heart is so deep and so, you're so much love, and we have the capacity to hold so much love of different kinds of love for each other and respect, but also realize that our actions affect other people. And, it's important that we always think about what we're doing, although we're wanting to manifest what it is that our heart desires, but we've also got to take into consideration, how is that going to affect? Is it going to do harm to others if I manifest this for myself? We need to be like in a complete oneness with it. As I heard you talking about Sherry's session, I'm going to have to go listen to that now. You got me really interested. That
it's really,
she stepped
really,
aside
really
and allowed, and allowed another, source to come through and talk. And so she has opened her heart and her vessel up to communicate very valuable information that will help everyone. And a lot of the things that I've heard and that I've experienced is that it comes from our heart and our mind in coherence, and then they work together. And when you're manifesting from your heart, it will happen. Now, can I bring my daughter back like in that Mandela Effect movie? I do not think so. And I don't want to take her back from where she's at. She comes and sees me, and she's fine. She's just keeping an eye out for me. She's got a different vantage point. It didn't take away any gifts, none of my abilities. Nothing got lost in that. The only thing is my heart got broken.
Right.
Shattered. It would be more the term for it. But so anyways, I just wanted to touch base with you before I posted a link in your chat for the Schumann Resonance website to get your permission and to let you know.
Is it the disclosurenews.it link, or is it a different one?
It's Schumann Resonance Today is what the page is called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, post it in there. Let's check it out.
It takes all of the different ones from, all of them. Then it has, like, articles and stuff in there, too. And it's posted. So then you can check that out yourself and see if maybe that's the one you want to link your Schumann, because I couldn't get there from yours, because I was wanting to look up the 17-hour blackout. But I couldn't get there from your site. And I was like, what? No, I know Shane is much better than this. He's got this going on. But sometimes sites shut down and other ones open up or whatever. So I can't guarantee this one will be open to infinity and beyond, or if Mandela affected its way out and now it's a different link.
Well, where did you see the link at? I don't have a on my UOTF.net site.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I went there. I went there looking for where you said that you had the Schumann Resonance, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't have it on my website. I do have it under certain videos.
Oh,
yeah.
That could be why I couldn't find it.
Yeah, this is the one I actually have linked, the disclosurenews.it, Italian site. This is, but I only put it under videos. I don't put it on the website. Because I usually send people over to Mr. MBB333.com's website, because right there you can just, I actually used to have a site.
Oh, that, okay. Then that was my confusion, because I thought it was on your site. I didn't go to Mr. MBB333.
Well, see, I used to have him linked on my site.
I remember you bringing it up.
But since my book came out, I took his spot and put my book in his spot instead. But yeah, I got limited space, limited real estate there. But yeah, that's what I ended up doing.
Okay.
But he goes to the Russian site. Yeah, his goes to the Russian site, but it's pretty quick. It looks like this one you sent me to looks like it's pretty current, though. Let me see here.
Yeah, it stays pretty current, and you can go back in the archives and see the blackouts, and it's just that, you know, when a blackout happens, that's such a phenomenon in itself, because just like our brains fire signals, okay? You know, shoots across, that's how our brain works. You know, it's kind of like the Schumann works in the same fashion, but it's within the ionosphere and the Earth's ground, and it's all the electricity and lightning bolts and all the activity of every kind of life form contributes to the Schumann. And it's the reason it's called Schumann is because it was named after Schumann, the one who discovered it in, I think, 1952, somewhere around there. So now here we are at this time, and they have them all over. I'm not going to say if the world is flat or round, but all over the land. So so they're registering all different locations. So for the entire flat or planet, plane, whatever, to go dark for that long is a lot of time for no frequencies, no vibration, and no energy to be streaming through at all. I mean, it was a complete blackout. So that really shocked me, and I don't know, a lot of people were complaining of dizziness and extra tiredness and things like that. Well, if there's no energy being floated around, you know, which that would be draining and taxing on us because we're trying to make up the difference.
Right.
And it still didn't impact it. Do you see what I'm saying? It didn't raise the frequency enough to even make a blip on the radar. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that when you were talking about it earlier, but I'm like, no, I need to call him and let him know I'm still around, and you know, you haven't lost me anywhere or anything. I'm still around. I really haven't even done much on my channel. I've been taking a break. I just needed a break.
Oh, I totally get
But I
it.
do come in and lurk on you and, you know, and listen, and I always enjoy your Friday night shows. Always have. And your Saturdays. I do. But I haven't been on your Saturdays in a while. Is Eileen still doing the meditations?
Yeah, matter of fact, she went to this ashram last week and down in the Bahamas, and so she spent the time to sort of produce this video, and we ended up premiering it because they shut down all the electronics on the island, or not the whole island, but the ashram, so that they can meditate during the time that we were meditating. So we pre-recorded it and then did just premiered it at our normal time. So you should check it out because she gives us a little tour of this ashram on Paradise Island in the Bahamas, and it was a really cool episode. It was different than any other episode because she was actually...
Is that last week or tomorrow?
Yeah, last week.
Okay.
She'll be back
and
tomorrow.
We'll be live like normal.
But I wanted to let everybody know and let you know that I just pasted in a link to the spectrogram calendar from the heartmath.org. The HeartMath Institute has... Okay, so the Schumann resonance that most people look at is located in Russia, but there's actually there's actually 3 or 6 other sensors, and they're located in California, and Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, Canada, New Zealand, and South Africa. So you can actually get on there.
So they're all over the plane. Yeah, they branched it out.
Yeah. So
I'm
looking at
so they
this
know what's going on in every area for it to be dark in all those areas at the same time.
Well, it was only, I'm looking here, and it looks like
time.
it was only dark in, let's see, 02 is Saudi Arabia went dark. California went online, stayed online for this last week. When was this blackout?
Beginning of January.
Oh, okay. This is only the last week, but you can actually, right at the top, you can, let's see what we're looking at.
Yeah, you can go into the archives and see it was around 17 hours But the moon thing that I was talking about was the beginning of this week. The weird moon anomaly with the, like, having, they called it a wolf moon or something, and it was a 3-day full moon. It was almost a 3-day full moon.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I have one of those atomic clocks, and my atomic clock does not match the moon phasing right now at all. It's off whack completely.
Oh, wow.
Completely off whack from how it waxes and wanes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when a lot of people were, you know, even though I'm going through my own, a lot of people needed to purge. And, of course, I'm a good listener, so I listen. And I always show, you know, an open heart, open mind, because I'm not about, you know, the religion or none of that matters to me. What matters to me is where's your heart and your mind, and how do you treat other people, because it affects them. It affects each of us. There is a cause and effect. And that's where we're going to see major shifting. And when you want something to really happen in your life, a lot of times just take it into your meditation and keep it to yourself, because other people can buffer you. Without you even knowing it. You could think they have the highest intention for you, and they could think that too. But they could think also with some doubt in their mind, like, that's totally impossible. So write it down and date it, and then keep it to yourself. And when it manifests, you'll have it written down. There's your proof. There's your affirmation. And then it happens. So, but we will eventually get to the same page where when we're all getting these affirmations that it won't matter if we tell people or not, because they will not have that doubt. And your last caller was talking about that too, and that's correct. That is correct. Any little seed of doubt that creeps in affects. It has effects. Even if it comes from a different vessel, you know, it will affect the outcome of what your heart is desiring. Manifesting from the heart is much easier than manifesting from the mind, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just putting your intentions and then your emotions and your feelings into it is the most powerful way to get all three of those going.
Heart, mind, coherence, and your energy, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just had a physical, and, you know, I've dropped a lot of weight and everything, right, since my daughter passed, but they took me off all my blood pressure medications. The weight loss was all fat, just about all of it, and I am in stellar health. Anything that they did the year before where I had some problem areas, they're all gone. So I will get through this. It's a you know, it's an emotional battle. It's I got to heal, and it takes some time, and I just need to be patient with it and allow the process to go forward, because my heart's been broken, and I can mend it, and I know it will happen. It will happen, because I still have love in my heart for everybody, and if my heart was too broken, I wouldn't have that.
Right. And also you have something a lot of people don't have, and that's the knowing that your daughter is away from you now, but she's still very much alive and well, and so it's more like she's gone away on a trip overseas and you won't be seeing her anymore. So there is that heartbreak of knowing that you have to spend the rest of this life without her.
Yeah, it's the hugs.
Yeah, it's the hugs, it's the conversations and stuff like that. But you will see her again, and a lot of people don't even have that. They think, well, tell us about that. What was that experience about? Like, if you don't mind.
Okay, this is it. I don't mind. I was in a master bedroom, and it was very white, and my mother was in there, and my son was in there. It was a beautiful master bedroom. I mean, it was like perfect, okay? Well, then I walked out of that one. I mean, it had the full vanity in there and the full restroom, with the bathtub and then a separate shower, and, it was just gorgeous, okay? So I walked out of that one, and I went down. I'm thinking I ended up in a different house. But it was her house. It was Shannon's house. But I was still under the belief that I was in my house. It was really kind of odd. And then I walked into this room, and it had sliding glass doors out to a little backyard area that had a swimming pool. So you slide the glass door open, and then you walk out, and you can get in the swimming pool. But on the other side of the glass, it was like a terrarium, and it was like the water was over halfway up the glass. So, it was like, how's that water not leaking into the house, But there's no logic in that. And there was these beautiful, colorful tortoises in there swimming, and the water was crystal clear. You could see it was very vivid colors. And then I looked in the bathroom in there, and it had one of those jacuzzi tubs, and it was much nicer than the one. I said, wait, this should be mine and Joe's room. And then I looked over at the bed, and it had all white, pure white blankets and stuff on it, but she was laying in the bed. And she was looking at me, and then she stood up, and then this beautiful rainbow of, it looked like a wing expansion came out from all around her. And when she talks to me, she doesn't move her mouth. I hear her, but her mouth doesn't move. It's different, but I've had several dreams with her, but that's my most recent. But that's her room. That's her master suite, which is telling me better things to come. Don't worry. I'm fine. Better things to come. But the room was perfectly perfect. I mean, beyond perfect, the one that she was in. And to have her raise up like that. And in the dream, I'm just looking at it like, Shannon, why are you laying in this bed? Why, this should be your Dad and I's room, not your room, making yourself all comfortable, because it was like so real, like I was really there, and which I probably was. And then when she, like I said, she stood up on the bed and the wingspan came out, it was like rainbows and all these beautiful colors and lights just radiated from her. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. Oh gosh, I can't do it justice by describing it. It's one of those type of things you'd have to see. I wish I was a better artist because I could paint it or something and give a better perspective on it. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And she gave me a message, and then after the message, I walked back over, and as I was walking back over to the other house, I woke up. It was like when I was in the one house, I went to a realm. And then when I went to her house, I went to another realm, but I had to leave that realm and start going back to the other house so I could come back to my bodily vessel here.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense or not,
totally.
but that's how it felt. Like then, how sometimes you get those jolt awakes, like you just got plopped into your body.
Yeah.
That's how I got one of those abrupt wake ups like that. To kind of give an affirmation, like she's okay. And I've had several of her showing up in different areas of, let me know that she was okay, and telling me how much she loves me, and she knows how much I love her. So, and not to worry. That don't worry, everything's okay.
When was your daughter's birthday?
My daughter's birthday was, a little over a month after she passed away. It was May 29th.
May 29th. So 5:29, when you see it on the clock, she's saying hello to you.
Aw, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she passed away on 4/27.
Mm-hmm.
4/27, April 27th. So, in a freak car accident 4 hours before her flight to Florida to get away
crazy.
from.
Yeah, and we were talking right before it happened. It's really strange.
Isn't it? It's it's just she was supposed to be here at 5, but I knew she was out saying goodbye to her, her friends or whatever. She told them she was going to take care of a sick relative and that she'd be back because I think she wanted to make sure that, because some of these people were not the best people. Her boyfriend that she had at the time was mixed up in some things that, brought the sorts of people that you really wouldn't want around. And she wanted to I think she was wanting to make sure, oh, I'm coming back. I'm just taking care of a sick relative. And she told them she was going to Oklahoma, but actually, which is where my brother is, but actually she was going to Florida and she was not coming back. She had a job lined up and she took care of elderly people here, and she always adopted these funny-looking dogs. I mean, like, only she could love them, but now I can see, when I look at the pictures of them, they are just adorable, but they just really, really love her. And we've got Baxter, and he was supposed to only be here for 2 weeks, and he's still here with us, and that was another one that she picked up.
Yeah.
So we still have him, and I think he can sense it because he's put on a lot of weight since she's passed, and sometimes he'll cry, but I just give him lovin's and then he's okay. But animals are precious too. They're very sensitive about things and they can express themselves. So I got to make sure that I'm giving him hugs and loves and taking good care of him, because that would make her very happy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I also have a link to the movie The Mandela Effect. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
It's free. I mean, you got to jump in and out, in and out, in and out, and then it plays through free. So if you want me to drop that in there, I can do that for you too, if you want. If the viewers, chatters, want to see that movie.
Yeah,
then,
drop it in there.
I didn't mean to do a spoiler on it. We just won't talk about that again. But I don't think that is in the realm or scope. I think that it needed to have a plot, so a lot of filler space was, and you know how long it takes to make a movie, to write it and everything. I think when it first came out, they got to work on it, so they needed to have it be a movie with a plot. So
yeah, it's got to have some kind of ending to it, because this is the never-ending story, really, isn't it? I was like, well, when you think about the fact that they had to make it come to some type of conclusion, and how do you do that? I think they did all right, They had to make it a movie, but if it raises awareness and it makes people look at it, so what if that did happen? They do a quick internet search and see it did, at least in the first part of it,
right?
Because that first section was awesome. The first section that I think most of us went through, where he's sort of looking online and discovering it all. It's I think a lot of people, it was very reminiscent for a lot of people. And he even watched a lot of the same videos.
And there was so much familiar stuff in there.
Yeah.
I loved the familiarity with George with the tail, and I loved the familiarity of him reading her the books with the right names and stuff on it. It gives a form of comfort for those that are affected.
Definitely, yeah.
So it is interesting, but I do have the link to that. I got it from, I don't know if you know him, Nobleness D. He's on Scare Performance. A lot of people, go to, several different areas. We can't be all at the same place at the same time. But this was actually on a very small channel that's trying to grow on that I'll pop over there on Tuesdays for him. And so he gave me the link, and I watched the movie all the way through, and wow. I like I said, they had to go with the theory. They had to have a plot. They had to have an ending. They had to have, a storyline, even though we know it could go any direction at this point. We really don't know. That's one thing we know is we don't know. But by trial and error, we're figuring out our gifts, our abilities, and the things that we can and cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're doing things, if it's going to impact somebody else in a negative way, your heart's not in the right place.
Yeah.
So, that's the way that I try to manifest, and it seems to work the best, for me anyways, is by, is what I'm asking for going to hurt anybody else? If it is, then my heart's not in the right place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always asking for the most benevolent outcome for all is always a good way of thinking about it.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
You're Shane.
I'm just regular old Shane.
I wouldn't expect anything different. I did enjoy your interview at the conference.
With Chris Sinatra?
By the way.
Or the presentation?
The one that you were being interviewed by
Christopher. Oh, let's see.
All the interviews. He's posting all the interviews and the chats.
Yeah.
What you guys all talked about and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to him posting your portion. And I believe you can post it now. I think if you just get with them, I think you can post it on your own.
Yeah, I was waiting to try to build up traffic to the other site before I posted on mine, so that people that want to run out and watch it right away, they'll go over there and subscribe to the IMEC website or the IMEC YouTube channel, the International Mandela Effect
That's where
Conference.
it's at.
Yeah, it's already posted over there. I told I mentioned it a few times, but yeah, if you guys don't know, my presentation is already posted over there. And let's see, and my interview with Christopher Sinatra is also over there. Yeah, they just posted it like a couple
Larson.
Yep, and they've still got, I think they've got everybody up now. They've even got Cynthia Sue Larson's Sunday presentation. I think the last they have to do is Kimberly Lynn Hansen's. They've even got Lauren Cannell Pavelka's posted. So yeah, everybody who was not able to go, if you go over to the IMEC YouTube channel or the International Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel, you can watch all of those over there now.
Yeah, you know what probably happened is I watched him after yours was posted, so I subscribed, and then when the other ones came up, I watched them, and I was waiting on yours. So I just need to go to that channel and go to the videos and go back and watch yours. Because I've been waiting on yours. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. So, and that's what I'm telling you. I really have backed off of YouTube and just been just kind of just healing, just doing what I need to do and to be back 100%. And it's going to take a while, and I realize that. And, to be the best version, still maintaining heart balance, and since I'm still capable of unconditional love and putting others where they belong with unconditional love, I know that my heart is not shattered, even though it feels like it sometimes. It's still there. I like I said, there's so many different levels and depths of our hearts. It's just amazing. It's just amazing how deep our love goes for each other, and how love can sustain us. And I don't know how we would ever function without love.
Yeah.
I think that would be something that would take away the human race. We function on love.
Yeah, God is love.
That's our highest potential is a pure heart.
Absolutely. And I did just paste the channel in there for anybody who doesn't know about the International Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel. If you go there, you'll find my presentation along with Cynthia Sue Larson's and Christopher Sinatra. He's the CEO that came out in June of last year. And also Lauren Cannell Pavelka, she presented on the same day I presented. And then, of course, there's two of Cynthia Sue Larson's. And there's even some interviews, and Dark Wolf's in one of the interviews with Christopher Sinatra. So yeah, it was a fun time. It really was and the love that was there, it felt really good. It had a really good energy there, and I really, I expected it to be good, but I didn't think it would feel like it felt like at ESETI, but it really had a good feeling, just like at ESETI, with a lot of the, just meeting with other people and stuff. So.
And making them real.
Yeah.
Makes them more than just a name on a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
It brings the value of the realness of that person into your life, and that deepens that love even more.
Yeah, it's a really great group of people.
Yeah. He said he was a great group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was beautiful, and the things that we captured, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I'm still amazed at some of the photos that we got. It's like, what? It's amazing. It was an amazing camping experience. I needed to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to get away, and you supplied an avenue for us all to meet up, and I am very, very grateful for that. And I keep your crystals very close to my computer. And I was also going to say, to block ourselves from a lot of these outward frequencies like Wi-Fi, cell phone towers, things like that, smart meters, copper really helps with that. And that's why a lot of people make the organite, and they always put the copper in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how people used to build those like Faraday cages around their bed?
Mm-hmm.
But those are big and bulky and a metal thing when you can put some copper around, and what it does is it veers those outward frequencies around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to be pretty close to you, but it doesn't have to be all over your bed. Mainly where your head is. So
Mm-hmm.
wherever you're laying your head is where you want to veer them around, because you could be watching Wi-Fi in your dream and not realize it, because it's just running through the same frequency that our brain may fire at
Mm-hmm.
that time. So that's all. That was another thing I wanted to share, but I will let you get on to your next caller.
Actually, we've reached the end, but don't forget to paste that link into the for anybody that might want to watch the Mandela Effect movie. I think a lot of the people already saw it. Okay.
I'll grab it right now and post that in there for them. And I love you, Shane, and just realize I may not be very chatty, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Okay, I understand.
Still
Yeah,
here
I'm a
for
lurker too. Lots of love to you. I love you, Michelle, and give your husband a big hug for me as well.
I will. And hey, how come my channel name didn't go up there?
What's that?
On the call.
It's over on the site now. It's on the call with Michelle.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh.
I'm giving. I had to poke one joke before I leave, and then where's the drum? Ba ba ba. Okay, that's it. I love you. Have a great night.
All righty, you too. Bye-bye.
And I'll see you tomorrow night. Okay, bye.
Bye. And we will see all of you guys tomorrow night. The Power of 8, I forgot. Power of 1 now. The Power of 1. The Power of 1. Tomorrow night with Eileen. She will be back. And we'll just be going live. Yeah, I did move the location of the name over on the site now to make room. Actually, the chat, I've been trying to figure it out all night. The chat should be above where it says Friday Night Love Stream. That's what that big black area is. And I tested it. It worked great the other day, but for some reason, it's not working tonight. I don't know what it is. So I guess back to the drawing board with that. I thought it'd be nice to have the chat on the screen, but oh well. It is what it is. I wanted it up there because now that I am also simulcasting, I'm streaming on Facebook now. So I think most people that are watching on Facebook will see that we're really on YouTube, and it's sort of a way to get around not having the notifications. Sometimes people don't get those. So Most people are on Facebook, so you'll get it that way. You'll see it's live, and if you want to join in the chat, which a lot of people do, they can hop over here. If you want to just watch it on YouTube or on Facebook, you can do that. It's also being streamed on, let's see where I'm at here. Twitch, restream.io. I'm going to tell you guys where all it's being streamed at right now. It's being streamed on, okay, they're all working. Okay, it's being streamed on Twitch, Ustream, of course YouTube, where most of you are watching this, and on Facebook now. I thought there was another one. And the only place anyone's watching it is one person on Facebook. Hello to you on Facebook, whoever you are. Oh, I thought it was, no, I thought I had my son on there. But so hello to my one viewer over on Facebook. And 48 people, it says. It could be delayed a little bit because it says 44 in there. Who knows? Other than that, lots of love, light, and unity to all of you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a good one. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.